Okay, and that was the one that's been.
All right, folks, we've got ready for the news story and everything like that. I'm going to bring in Rick Rosner. He's going to talk about what's going on in the world. And I'm going to have to get off because I've got a meeting on in the background and everything like that. But I'm going to be back shortly, but Rick will tell you what's going on in the world.
They've gotten them from me, at least, you know. Okay. Your next one is Jay Sokolowski. SOKO. And then it's another L. This is the last name.
Hey, Rick, you're on mute, so you're going to have to get off mute before you can tell folks what's going on, but you're on mute. So once you get off mute, then we can have you talk.
L-L-U. Yeah, L-U-M.
Okay, thank you. The big story of last night, an Air Canada jet landing at New York's LaGuardia Airport ran into a fire truck that was responding to an emergency at a different runway, and they crashed and just smashed the front of the plane. Several dozen people injured, pilot, co-pilot killed, people on the fire truck in critical condition. Obviously it could have been worse, but so we know that the air traffic control guy said he screwed up. Those people are under tremendous pressure. They're working ridiculous hours. I don't know if it's part of the general chaos at airports, but TSA hasn't been paid in 5 weeks. Trump has sent ICE in to do the jobs of TSA. Trump has asked ICE to not wear masks when they're doing TSA jobs. So I've seen one photo of ICE guys doing TSA stuff with their masks off. So will that relieve some of the chaos at the airports? Jacoby nods his head no. Go ahead.
I mean, you're throwing unqualified individuals who are untrained at a position. I mean, they're untrained at being ICE agents, and so now they're untrained at being TSA agents. So you're just throwing people at the problem and not solving the problem. Currently, Trump has actually come out saying, yes, he will not sign any bill without actually having the SAVE Act being passed, because he knows the SAVE Act is actually going to disenfranchise a bunch of voters. Therefore, hopefully he'll have the opportunity to keep his power and won't be challenged, won't be no guardrails put up. So the Democrat Party has actually put up multiple bills to have TSA paid, have other parts of DHS paid, but hold off on getting ICE agents paid or whatever, and so on and so forth, even though they're actually funded extra based off of the big, beautiful bill. They're just a private army now. That's what Trump has made. ICE is his private army.
Well, let's talk about SAVE first. If you're watching the show, it probably means you're paying at least a little bit of attention. Unlike half of American voters who won't start paying attention to the issues besides their own personal, like price increases and stuff until a month before the election. But in case you haven't been paying attention, the SAVE Act, the Republicans say it is to stop an epidemic of voter fraud. However, if you've been paying any attention at all, you know that there is an extremely low level of voter fraud. There are 77 documented instances of non-citizens casting votes in the past 25 years in the US out of a total of 2 billion votes cast. Overall, about 2,000 idiots have committed voter fraud, documented cases out of 2 billion, which is a rate of 1 in a million, which means it's voter fraud is almost non-existent.
Let's put it actually in terms that we can all understand. You have a better case of winning the lottery than you do of catching voter fraud, or actually having voter fraud happen.
Well, kind of. Okay, you have a better chance of winning the lottery than catching a non-citizen voting. It's 77 out of 2 billion, which is what, 1 in 13 million?
Is it 1 in 13 million? That was more.
No, you're right. I screwed up the math. It's 1 in like 27 million. Anyway, it's vanishingly small. It's not enough to have changed the outcome of any election in U.S. history, and to prevent a few dozen instances of voter fraud, it has the potential of disenfranchising tens of millions of people, primarily women who, like my wife, decided to take my last name when she married me.
Well, it's women and minorities, even though women are 50-50 now. So technically, yeah, women are still in the considered in the minority category. But yes, if your last name doesn't connect with the name that's on the actual ID, or if the name at birth is not the name at ID, you got to get the marriage certificate and marriage license and everything else before you vote. Passports, you got to have that all. I mean, it's just it's ridiculous.
So, all right, we should move on to the war. Trump has said he's not going to blow up oil fields for 5 days, I guess, to allow for negotiations with the Iranians. He says he's been negotiating with them. The Iranians say no.
So just to pinpoint that, Trump is looking for a way out. He didn't have an idea of what he wanted to do when he came into this war and when he chose to go to war. Now he's begging for a way out. And he knows that his words manipulate the market, because
the market was up it opened 900 points up. I don't know where it's at now. Sasha.
Yep, because he came out and said that he was not going to do that. He also lifted sanctions on Iranian oil. So now there is no claim. If anybody says anything about President Obama releasing the money or releasing the restrictions on the funds on Iranian funds that were being kept globally, you can't say it anymore, because Trump literally just gave $14+ billion to Iran by lifting those sanctions. So on top of that, so he knows that he's manipulating the market. That's what happened last time when he came out and spoke, saying that he wasn't going to do this about the oil. But now he's coming out looking for some type of answer. So he's manipulating the market by saying what he says, his Taco Don stuff. He backed off of that. So now the market goes up. Now he's begging for another way out, because he's saying he's in negotiations with Iran. Iran says, no, we're not in negotiations. So next, watch. He's going to say within the next 4 or 5 days, if he doesn't bomb, if no bombs go off in the next 4 or 5 days, he's going to say, we've come to an agreement. Iran's going to say, no, we haven't. So now we're at a stalemate.
Right, so, all right. The market now, the Dow is up 900, the S&P up 120, NASDAQ up 465. So what Trump says has boosted the market. Sasha?
I think you have to look a little bit further than just Iranian war. I think there is much more to it. What happened is, by Friday, there was a big news from Europe. Europe woke up. Europe now realized that US is not an ally, it's not a friend, at least until Trump is in the office. What's happened, the big deal is that the cornerstone of Trump's dealings with Putin was the idea of expropriating the about up to $300 billion of Russian money sitting and arrested in European banks. So the deal was that somehow this money would be unfrozen and split between Putin and Trump under the guise that that money will be partially used to reconstruct the area of Ukraine which was occupied by Russia for 10 years and more, and some other ideas or so on. Guess what's happened on Friday? Europe came with absolutely new concept which was approved by all members of the European Union, which is provide Ukraine with $120 billion right away, forthwith, using Russian money as a collateral that if Ukraine will not be paid by Russia the reparation, which then Ukraine can use to offset that credit. And if Russia is not going to pay reparation money, then European Union directly will expropriate this money as a collateral. So this way, neither Trump nor Putin, nobody else has access to this money. Even in your dreams, you cannot do that anymore. So now, since Trump's Geschäft diplomacy is absolutely ruined, I don't think that he will continue to express his great interest to Russia, because all Trump's diplomacy efforts, it's a Geschäft. Where did he go first when he became president a year ago? He went to Saudi Arabia. He went to all these Gulf nations. Why? Because that's where the money is. That's why it's so easy to fraud these countries to sell them Patriot missiles. They will defend you against everything. You don't scare. They cannot defend against drones. No, they can't. So he's got out of this countries. Don't know use any names. These countries.
All right. So there's
Trillions of dollars for nothing. It's a fraud, the real fraud. And I don't think when this war will be over, I think these nations, Gulf nations, they will ask American, take their bases, get the hell out of here and never show your face again.
so that there's
Europe already is telling Trump, just go away. Okay, you know that, you're aware of it.
so there's a lot of there are multiple points of unclarity with the war right now. Trump says he's not going to bomb Iranian energy sites. Does that mean he'll continue to bomb other sites? We don't know.
Why are you emphasizing this obvious thing? He is Taco. He wants to run away. He's taking incredible losses all over the world. He wants to save whatever was a month ago before this invasion. He wants to come back to it and say, okay, we are nice people. Okay, Canada, we leave you alone. Just, what's important thing is that all the latest achievements of last year, for example, gross domestic product rose, as we know, 4.3%. But you know that without AI, it would be zero. There was no GDP growth in America at all. So the AI is far the biggest thing. All the biggest companies like NVIDIA and everything else, they all doing all that, and that creates a lot of money. The companies are buying each other's stock. Sometimes the company is buying its own stock, whatever. But guess what? Europe found a way how to destroy this AI bubble in US. There's a company in a Dutch company with the name ASML. This company actually produces, design, and implementation of all the chips for NVIDIA, for Broadcom, for all these companies. So if ASML will follow the European lead and will stop any cooperation with US companies, that's the end of AI bubble. It's done, it's over with. And from that point on, the only one direction of US economy is recession, down, big time. And with Iranian war, which is going nowhere, think about it. Okay, beside Tucker, what are his other options, Trump? Okay, so he sends a ship, the battleship with all the helicopters there and all this F-15, 35. It's coming from Japan to Middle East. It's taken about 3 weeks to reach there. Then the other thing is coming somewhere from Indonesia or so on. It will take another 2 weeks. Then guess what? The Diego Garcia Island, which is the base for US military, including B-52 and B-2 and all this wonderful machinery and so on. Iran has now a missile that can fly 4,000 kilometers and reach Diego Garcia. Actually, they shot 2 missiles, one didn't reach. The second one was destroyed by US ships. But guess what? If it will be not 1, 2 missiles, what if it's going to be 10, 15 missiles? And at least one of them will reach Diego Garcia and explode there. That's the end of all US military campaign. That's the end. Finish. No more. So this is why Trump, who is now in big trouble overseas, financially, economically, upcoming midterm election, he is trying to save whatever he can still save. It means immediate peace with Iran. The problem is that Iran doesn't want that peace. Iran wants to destroy all American troops in the Middle East. They want reparations. They made 6 points ultimatum to United States. I don't know if there was any reply or what, or he had very happy call. I had a very happy call with Iran. Oh, here we
Let's
go.
talk about some of the other stuff facing Trump. Inflation is now at 3.4%. That's even before the war started. On Friday, I think Robert Mueller, the special prosecutor, died on Friday, I think, and Trump on Truth Social said he's glad he's dead. Mueller was an evil guy. Mueller was the very opposite of an evil guy. He was an upstanding. He was head of the FBI. He got the FBI back on track after 9/11. He was a war hero. He went to Princeton. He left Princeton and enlisted in the army and went to war because one of his friends got killed in the war. And he served honorably. He got wounded. In every way, he was an upstanding guy. And Trump was calling him crappy and evil. And
he was a Republican. Don't forget that.
Yeah, he was a conservative guy, married for 60 years. So anyway.
I mean, decorated war veteran and everything.
But so Trump calls him evil, says he's glad he's dead. If you watched Fox News, they didn't report on that at all.
Yep. I mean, when Trump was very disrespectful, had the hat on at the
dignified
military transfer. Yeah. Fox ran a video of Trump. What was it, a year before?
A different dignified transfer where he's not wearing the hat.
Yep. So
Anyway,
Fox
Fox will cover Trump's ass. Trump's MAGAs are still behind Trump, according to one survey, 100%. And on the Sunday news shows, Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins went on there and said that Trump has brought prices down for food for Americans, which is complete bullshit. But so, I mean, there are Trump's bad performance in various areas might bite him in the ass, but might still not
it's
MAGA support.
Yeah, MAGA is going to be there regardless. They'll defend. They are physically unable to criticize Trump. They will defend him. It is sad to say it that way, but that's the way it is right now. But if you notice, his disapproval rating is now at 54% and steadily rising. I mean,
well, it depends on which surveys you look at, but on
well,
most
I'm looking at the
surveys, they
Rand
are at the lowest. They're certainly at the lowest of this term as president
of any president.
Well, the lowest of any president, except for certain points in his first term, is right after after January 6th. The last polls taken of him before he left office were super low, and on some of those polls, he ranked lower than he does now.
And with independents, he has an 18% approval rating. So
it depends on the whole poll. It's hard to poll people anymore. Plus, there are a bunch of shyster pollsters who poll Republican-leaning pollsters who will continue to put out rosy numbers.
Oh yeah, they're gonna try, but it's not working because I'm again looking at Real Clear Politics right now, which has been taken over in the first place. But Real Clear
Politics is conservative.
Yep, and they are at a +9 in disapproval. So he is not doing well anywhere. I mean, unless you're MAGA and unless you're the GOP who have fallen in line and will approve anything that he says, he is not doing well on anything.
So he loses the House in less than 8 months.
He loses the House and the Senate.
And the Senate is in play. It went from like a 12 to 16% chance that the Dems take the Senate. Now it's up to about 50%.
Yeah, because you got gas prices are, just at highs the same as when COVID was there. But we don't have anything. Well, I'm sorry.
Gas is at $3.96 now. Nationwide average $3.96. There were only a few months of Biden's term when it was more than that,
and that was due to Russia invading Ukraine, along with COVID. Right now, we don't have any of that except for the war that this man decided to start. So Trump,
nobody's got time for nobody's going to the average voter doesn't pay attention to explanations.
No, nobody cares about that. That's why, again, and they're already saying that the prices of gas probably won't come down until 2027. That's after the elections that are going on. So this is why Trump is looking for an exit strategy right now, desperate for one, so he can say that he did these things that he didn't do, but he's trying to look for a way to sell this to his MAGA base to keep them in line. Hence the reason why he also wants the SAVE Act to pass, so he can disenfranchise individuals that'll vote against him.
So everything I see says that the SAVE Act can't pass. It doesn't have the votes. The knock-on effects of high fuel prices and high fertilizer prices, because the chemicals for fertilizer come out of the Strait of Hormuz too. Anyway, the price increases will roll out over the next 3 to 6 months, which makes the timing of this war seem especially stupid, because we're going to see increasing prices. Even if Trump shuts down the war and gas prices recede somewhat, the knock-on effects will be rolling out at the grocery store for the next 3 to 6 months, which brings us up to September, when people start paying attention and deciding who they're going to vote for.
Well, that was the problem that Biden ran into. The gas prices and everything spiked, and then he paid for it at the election time. Stuff was coming down when the elections were happening. Stuff were at its lowest even in 2024. But the thing is that people, I think, have, even when they start paying attention to the elections and what's going on right now, it's baked in. And what'll happen once the election comes in and once the election fun happens with all the ads and everything else, the way that the Republican Party and Trump have been playing it is actually pushing more people away, because they keep saying it's a blip. They're flippantly talking about a struggle that people are having, and they're making it sound like, oh, it's nothing, don't worry about it. And that's the problem that they're running into. And when people start paying attention, that's going to be either extremely offensive or it's going to make people just mad.
Right, so the U.S. State Department has issued a worldwide alert yesterday, urging Americans across the globe to exercise increased caution. Which, I mean, that's a little late.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to point out a few things, and I'm sorry I'm late this morning, but the Heritage Foundation did a study, and they discovered that only 77 people in 24 years committed fraud in the elections. I want to make a point of
Well, it's
stating,
not just a study. The Heritage Foundation has maintained an election integrity database for I don't know, 10 years or more, where they've tracked down all the documented cases of voter fraud in this century, since the year 2000, and often their statistics go back 40 years. And they've only found 2,000 cases. And often it's like some, senile idiot deciding to vote for himself and for his wife who passed away using, there's only been 2,000 fraudulent documented cases of a fraudulently cast ballot out of 2 billion.
right. And I also want to point out something. I read the bill. It's just a couple of pages. And then I've been watching the hearings, and Representative Mike Lee, who is one of the co-sponsors, mentioned something that, grabbed my attention. So there is a loophole in the SAVE Act bill that you can cheat. And Mike explains it. I mean, this is Mike, the guy who's sponsoring the bill. And now he's telling MAGA, this is how you cheat. Okay, so first he goes into all the credentials that you have to vote, which, by the way, folks, I had to get all of that to get my driver's license. So my license should count for something, but as a married woman, it doesn't. So I'm going to have to but that's fine. I can do it. I know half of my MAGA girlfriends can't. They will lose it, forget it, or whatever. But the clause, this is what gets me. That clause says if you don't have any documentation and you don't have your ID, pretty much all you have to do is say your dog ate it. And by law and by the SAVE Act clause, and you can watch a video that I have posted on LinkedIn and Facebook, by that clause, they have to give you a piece of paper. You fill out that paper, who you are, your name, no ID required, and you sign at the bottom an affidavit admitting that you are who you say you are. Then they hand you a ballot to vote. Now, this is the SAVE Act cheat clause for MAGAs who will not have any ID.
Yeah, but
now,
then that goes to court. That goes to court, because then the Trump.
Yeah, but they're going to have to track you down. What if you had no ID? So they don't know. They don't know for real. So you just say, I'm so-and-so, and you fill out the paperwork, and then you leave. You're gone. Vamoose. You didn't give them your license plate number. You didn't give them, you gave them fake everything. So this is a true cheat bill. I mean, it's just
some speculation that the SAVE Act, which probably won't pass, that Trump doesn't care if it passes, because once it doesn't pass, he'll be able to claim and file a zillion lawsuits that there was massive fraud.
Well,
But-
that's what that is.
But why are they gaslighting everything to say this is to prevent people from cheating when they actually have a clause, a big fat clause that says no ifs, ands, or buts? They have to give you the right to vote just by filling out a paper.
Well, it's a
And
messy
so I
bill.
think it's gaslighting to distract. But I will say this, if you read the bill, which is very short and sweet, in there, if you want to say it's to suppress someone, the only people it will suppress, because anyone can go up and say, my dog ate it, and watch Mike Lee's video. I posted it. It is to suppress the disabled and those who will not be able to drive themselves to the polls, because it's suppressing mail-in vote. That's all it's doing.
Doesn't it have, oh, you read it. Doesn't it also have some anti-trans stuff that
It does.
It's got, yeah. So the anti-trans is to say that you can't have a driver's license that says you're male or female if your birth is the opposite. So, which means my sister-in-law won't be able to do it. She's not trans, but when she was born, they wrote down the wrong, gender. And she never went back to change it ever. In 70 years, she never went back to change it. She never had to, because people just gave her driver's license. People just gave her nursing license. People gave her passport. So, but yeah, but all that is doing is making people bring their credentials of their birth certificate. This is what I'm trying to tell people. I'm trying to educate you. Just go to the polls, women or transgenders or gay. Go to the poll with your driver's license, with your birth certificate, with your marriage certificate, and with your divorce decree if you're divorced. And if you got 10 of them like Trump, take all 10 of them. But I'm just saying, the clause, I don't know why there's a SAVE Act when there's a clause, when they're saying, oh, we're going to stop voter fraud. You can't say you're someone and you're not. No, they're suppressing certain people, but honestly, they're just suppressing MAGA, except they have their SAVE clause. And the SAVE clause is anyone can come vote without an ID, just according to Mike Lee, Representative Mike Lee, Republican Mike Lee, says, just say your dog ate it. You have to show nothing, absolutely nothing. So that's the problem.
It's a fail-safe.
Yeah, but why go through all of that if the law said, I want everyone to go there and say your dog ate it. Everyone.
The reason I say it's a fail-safe is because if you lose, what are you gonna blame? You can't have it both ways. This is their way.
Trump will sue over the outcome of the election. He's going to lose the House 100%. He may lose the Senate, and
but that process can take
forever. It won't be
Trump
that sues. It'll be any one Republican, even though Trump is going to go for a third run. Just to prove he can. The only reason why he's doing all this is to prove he can, that he's greater than anyone.
Yeah, he's trying to prove that he's the greatest at all times. Kim, just really quickly, and this is that whole notion of what people can do in elections, but what are we afraid that there's going to be like all kinds of crazy recounts? Because we know here in North Carolina, we've got this crazy hand count that's going on with the whole situation.
Did you hear what Berger wanted?
Yeah.
Berger wanted them to go through and see all the people who have died and how they would have voted if they made it to the polls. That's what he wanted. I was listening to NPR the other day, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Just walk away. Walk away, come back another day. Do something good for your people and come back another day. That's all I got to say about the elections. If you lost, it's because, and you were in office, it's because you failed the people.
Yeah, but I guess he's thinking because he only lost by like 25 votes that he's going to somehow.
No, and he's going to get them from those people who died and didn't make it to the polls. I mean, come on. Yeah.
So let's do some other news here. So there's a McDonald's in Shanghai, China, that's experimenting with instead of talking to a person at the counter, you talk to a robot. You give your order to a humanoid robot. Except they're not doing so well so far.
We have one here in Raleigh. They spent over a year building a Burger King, and it's only ran by three managers the whole week. 3 people run the place, and it's operated by all robots. But you know what they discovered? Robots and AI can't take orders very well, so they're
No,
having
I went to Popeyes a couple of weeks ago and tried to get AI to take my order, and I finally yelled at it, said, "Give me a human," because it was giving me the wrong prices.
Yeah.
It wasn't giving me what I usually order. It wanted to sell me all these sides and stuff. Anyway, yeah, no, it still has a lot of
It's got a lot of problems.
So I want
Going
to
back
ask
to-
Sasha a question because I only had a moment to glance before I had to do my therapy. Sasha, they said that the Dow was up 700 this morning. Is that true?
it's up 900.
Yes, it's true. It's a result of an announcement that Trump had a very good talk with Iranians. Let's
Well,
not
we'll
go
see
into
about
it.
that. We know how he lies. It's like that Doge check we got. So
Trump says they're negotiating. Iran says they are not negotiating.
No.
There's no clarity on that.
they're not. They won't be. What I do have to say is instead of sending ICE to help TSA, which that's all they're doing, they're not asking TSA employees to stop working. They're just going in to assist them because they're tired, hungry. And actually, if you ask your Alexa, she will tell you that it's very dangerous in the conditions that they're working. But here's the thing. I think they should send ICE or threaten to send ICE to Iran. They are going to be boots on the ground. 1, because they get paid better. So, they should risk their lives more. And 2, I think the minute you say ICE is coming to Iran, you're going to scare the sand out of Iran. I mean, it's going to scare them. It would scare me if you say you're sending ICE to my house.
Right, here's another story. So the cost of fuel may lead to a 4-day work week, according to this article on from Yahoo, from Fortune magazine. So COVID drove people out of offices and to work from home. And then over the past few years, people, there was a lot of jacking around. So there was a push to get people back into offices. Now there may be a push back out of offices with fuel costing so much.
So you're also looking at, you also got to look at the fuel in terms of schools. That's where we tend to forget. We think about jobs and so on and so forth.
Yeah, education.
But a big problem with fuel is education, because you deal with the buses. You also deal with the schools themselves. So a lot of schools are going to.
I have a question for Sasha then. So we have a housing shortage in the U.S. Given the conditions in offices and retail, shouldn't you look for investments in companies that convert office space into residential space?
It makes a lot of sense, and I'm pretty sure that
I agree.
these activities are underway and they should be well financed. The problem is with the gas that you didn't mention, the air travel, that there will be special surcharge on the extra money what costs to fuel the airplane.
Yeah.
That can affect. Now the ICE, I don't understand if they will be replacing or working with TSA. Are they still going to wear masks and hide their identity, or it will be a change in that respect? What's the deal?
I agree with that. And Sasha, you're right. And Rick, there are going to be tariffs. Now, I was watching Tim Closa last night. He's the chief energy advisor at Gulf Oil. All the chief energy advisors are coming on TV now. I guess they're all getting ready for CERA Week, which I chose to cancel to go to because I felt like it was too dangerous to fly right now during war. And, it's going to be all of the delegates and dignitaries and presidents and advisors from around the world and owners of gas, oil, and energy. And I just felt like that wasn't a safe place to be at. But Tom had mentioned that this this oil crisis that we will be going into will force us more into EVs now, which he is not opposed to, because a lot of the gas, oil, energy, the gas companies invested in EVs. Okay, Exxon did, Gulf did. They all highly invested in EVs, and so he even mentioned that this is going to push them into using and selling more EV products. So he had no concern about the gas prices that we're going into, just that we should start buying more into EVs. And that was Tom Cloza, who was the chief energy advisor at Gulf. So
is it accurate that it's cheaper to charge an electrical vehicle per mile than it is to fill it with gas?
It's not clear.
Yes.
Actually, a lot of owners of EVs are complaining that in the real world, when you're driving, considering the time that it will take to refuel this EV or so on, there is no bonanza for EV drivers at all. In fact, there are a lot of impediments. There are a lot of problems that they're facing. For example, in the colder climates like Canada or North, in the winter time, it can drive only up to 150 to 100 miles. And then you have to refuel, and refuel will take you anywhere from half an hour to all night, depends on what your refueling options are. So it's not panacea at all. It's a problem.
You're right. A true EV device is local only. It's not.
Incorrect. Just to point out, the infrastructure for EVs is not there right now. And that's what holds back EVs. Yes,
Right.
in cold weather, you lose about 25% of your actual mile of your actual driving length.
Your range.
Yeah, your driving range. However, EVs are great vehicles. EVs right now, especially right now, in terms of gas prices, if you look it up, I mean, honestly, right now you're looking at 15 cents per mile for gas. You're looking at 8 cents per mile for EV. So you're actually saving a lot of money right now because of gas prices being high. When gas prices are low, you're roughly running about the same in terms of per mile. If you're also looking at range in terms of how far they go and the amount of stuff that you can travel with, again, the infrastructure, you have to think differently the way you drive an EV than you do a combustion engine. Just because the combustion engine has a very, very deep infrastructure. That's what we're built off of right now. But the EVs, as more EV charging stations come online, that infrastructure becomes an easier thing for people to drive.
I just saw a post out of China that says that they're working on rapid charging.
Yes, rapid technology is there currently, but right now China is actually working on a better battery technology for that rapid technology that go even faster. The old style, what you're talking about, Sasha, with the 30 minutes to an hour and so on and so forth, that's the old technology. That's been passed. Right now, it is sitting at a much faster rate. And if you think about it, if you get about 20 some odd miles to the gallon, and it's going to take you, really quickly to pick up. But also with an EV, you're looking at a charge of maybe 5 to 10 of about 10 minutes, which is going to how much you sit there in the first place. You take about 10 to 15 minutes. You have enough range to get to where you need to go. But it's just a different driving, and the actual technology within EVs is much superior at this moment in terms of just the innards of the actual combustion compared to the combustion.
I just wanted to say that the gas companies win either way. That's what I was.
Yes, they will.
Trying to make. It's because they've already invested in EV, and this was disclosed about 3 or 4 years ago when I went to CERAWeek. They had disclosed that they were highly invested in EV technology. But I just wanted to say that it's more about the payload. How heavy is the item? And several of my husband's friends own the full EV. I own a partial, but it's about the payload too. And that was big research that we did in University of Southern Miss. Was the heavier it is, the more pull and drain on the battery it is. So the lighter the products get, the lighter the payload gets, the longer you can go. But most
So
people
that
say
is
just use EV for local right
So
now.
just
Well, let Sasha get a word in here.
Yeah, and
So
then
let me explain to you something. The whole literature, promotional literature on EV, it has to be taken with a great skeptics because what they're saying so much miles you can drive on single charge or so on. This is if it's an ideal driving condition, temperature, the load, everything. If something is not there, then all your results will be adjusted severely, a lot. So therefore, Jacobi, I agree that in the long run, EV is superior technology. It's going to perform much better than it is performing today. But it takes time. And it takes, I don't know what's happened with Tesla, but Elon Musk promised that he will put all highways and everywhere you can charge your EV or so on. I don't know what's happened with it. Is he tilting that, or he abandoned that, or what's the deal?
so
I know that last summer, I'm sorry, a relative of mine drove from Maryland to Canada, to Toronto, and half of his day around Niagara Falls, still on the American side, he spent looking for EV charger because he had an EV, which he regrets now. And he was driving around and looking at the Google Maps and everything. He couldn't find anything, so at the end of the day, he got stuck. So he had to get tow truck, which drove him.
Just to point out real quick, both of the complaints that both you and Sasha, that Kim and Sasha said, are the same complaint, saying that it matters about the weight, it matters about the driving conditions. That's the same with a gas combustion engine.
Yes.
Exact same.
gas is more available for charging.
It's more available, but just really quickly,
really quickly. That complaint is the same complaint about gas combustion engines. And I already pointed out the infrastructure is not there. Therefore, you have to drive in a particular way. Hence the reason on EV vehicles, they actually have links to the charging stations, and you get to map out your day a lot differently. So EVs, yes, the technology, the weight of an EV is a lot heavier than an actual combustion engine due to the fact the battery technology has not gotten any better yet. But there is that battery technology there. But that weight right now has been offset.
With regards to weight, I wanted to check on the situation in Bangladesh, where they have an advantage in the capital city, Dhaka, where they have electric three-wheelers. So if you've got an electric trike, basically, it doesn't weigh anything. So you guys have 4 million electric trikes in Dhaka right now. And your government wants you to be at 30% electric mobility by 2030.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
And you can still pedal it because it's light enough. You can still put motion.
Well, let's hear what Dr. Sharif
I think it's beautiful.
Dr. Sharif has to say.
This is different strategy Bangladesh government is taking. Also, my research centers like policy research and other things we are also helping. We call it Innovative Bangladesh 2040. I plan for these things, and especially what you were discussing about three-wheelers, about this energy-related policies, startup policies, media policy, innovation policy, everything. We develop 14 pillar. What you are discussing and what we learn from Western world, what we have in our resources, as we have a 171 million people. So we are restructuring our energy things. We are redeveloping our transportations. Another thing, definitely, I closely work with Stanford Product Realization Lab, North American, some high quality innovation we are deploying in Bangladesh, what we call Podcast City. So energy is very important, and country like Bangladesh, 90% of our energy sources is come from abroad. So we are trying to restructuring all of the process. And definitely, if you have innovations, if you have Kimberly, you are from universities, you have great resources in your network. If you have energy related innovations and other things, we are happy to invite you and invite you all in our
I would say contact University of Southern Miss. I can see if I can find a contact there. They did probably the most research in that arena than all the universities I worked with, and I worked with a few. But they put a lot of research into that, mostly for the military purposes, because alternative energy is very important. I do want to just make a quick announcement, and then everyone else, I'll walk away. The one of our shows is heading to DC. They have already started a whole team of people. What started out as just 2 days and speak with 2 senators about a bill that we've been thankful for that's being passed through. Hopefully, it will pass through. Now we're speaking with probably about 6 to maybe 8. Every day it grows senators. I wish we could just hold an assembly in one day for them, but we've extended our trip to 7 days. So Timeshare Solution or Surrender, we'll be doing reruns, but we will be in DC. We're still taking information from people, but we are trying to change the laws to prevent the illicit activities and deceptive acts of misrepresentation of oral representation and a few other problems, so that people are not victims of scams anymore.
Is Economics Monday going to be a rerun also because we don't have David Walker?
That's probably going to be a rerun because that was never set up.
Is David missing in action? I know he's on
He
vacation.
said he's traveling.
He's
Yeah,
traveling.
he's on vacation. Yeah.
He's traveling and Nick's traveling as well and everything. So probably won't be an economic show, and I hadn't set up a media show, so that'll probably everything will probably be reruns.
But I'll try to pop in and give you an update of the bill and the senators that we meet with.
Yeah,
That's what I'm going to try to do.
Yeah, definitely do that. We're looking forward to that.
Sasha has us.
Yep.
Okay, I wanted to mention that tomorrow there will be a Ukrainian show at 11 o'clock. And one of the things what we're going to discuss is that on Friday, European Union make a huge decision to freeze Russian funds. We are talking about 250 up to $300 billion that will guarantee a loan to Ukraine of 120.
Wow.
First tranche, $120 billion. So it is it's the end of Geschäft diplomacy between Trump and Putin. When they were playing a game that somehow they two of them will appropriate this Russian money and will use it for whatever reasons to develop something, to build something, or whatever else is that. That's the end. Finita la commedia. No more Geschäft diplomacy. So now Trump is losing any interest to Russia because what's Russia? It's the poorest country right now. It's bleeding in a war against Ukraine. And now that Ukraine has all the weapons it needs, all the money it needs, so no longer Trump will say, oh, you do this, you have 48 hours to accept it, or you do this. Shut up, idiot. No more this idiotic. That's the end of this. So now Trump is taking a huge beating in the war against Iran. It's impossible for him to win the war. Why he is doing taco now? Because it's been calculated. Several things. All his escadra moving from Japan to Middle East, it will take 3 weeks just to get there. Another one is moving from the west coast of US to get there 5 weeks. Island Diego Garcia, where all the military equipment, including B-52, P-2, and all those wonderful planes, Iran now has a missile that can fly 4,000 kilometers. So therefore, Diego Garcia is no longer safe haven. It could be. Now, another thing is, Russia and China are supporting Iran.
and more proactively. And the idiot who started this war, he had to calculate that they are working together. They will support each other. And without troops on the ground, its war is unwinnable. You cannot do anything about it. Now Trump is saying he doesn't care about the Strait of Hormuz because the U.S. has all oil it needs. So it's Europeans or Asians. They need to take care of Strait of Hormuz. It's not going to happen. So he cannot even make a tackle. Okay, we got it. We won the war. We are going home. What war did you win, idiot? The Strait of Hormuz is controlled by Iranians, and there is no way for ships to get out of there.
I know.
No. This is a balagan. That's all what it is.
And then, everyone, make sure you watch our updates on the war with Sasha Show and also the updates on the stock market. Please stay safe during this time of war. We've already had an accident at the airport because I think our TSA is overloaded. But everyone, please make sure, thank you for watching us. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for more news, more conversation about the news. And if you have any tips for us, please feel free to share them on podtv.tv. So until tomorrow, take care.
Thank you.